computer's final digitized scream was not a sound, but a sensation, a white-hot spike of non-information that collapsed the entirety of the suit's advanced AI core into sterile, fused slag. One moment, the cow's HUD was processing the impossible data flow of a collapsed extragalactic Holtzman field. The next, it was blank. Bruce Wayne did not panic. He had engineered the dimensional fold engine to run beyond established limits, and its catastrophic failure, while unexpected in its specific form, was within the probability parameters of existential risk. He had fallen not through space, but through a crack in fundamental reality, trading the predictable, if chaotic, laws of his own universe for a harsh alien physics. The air that rushed into his suit's intake vents smelled of ozone, cinnamon, and deathly dryness, the three primary elements of Arrakis. His primary suit systems, designed for urban combat, immediately dedicated 90% of remaining power to passive cooling, a function that rapidly drained the internal reserves. His internal water recycling system, a closed-loop marvel of biofiltration, was already operating at a critically inefficient level in the extreme pervasive heat, losing an estimated 10% of precious body moisture per hour, a rate that spelled death within a day. He was a master of technology, but here, technology had failed, and water was life. The landing was hard, a tumbling crash onto a dune that tasted of spice and fine silica dust. Bruce's training, honed over decades to absorb the shock of a dozen-story fall, allowed him to roll with the impact, but the silence that followed was more jarring than the impact itself. The familiar low hum of the Bat computer's passive scanning algorithms was gone. In its place, only the faint, high-pitched whine of the cooling units fighting the twin sun heat. This universe, he realized with a mentat-like chill, had rejected the very concept of the machine mind. The Butlerian Jihad was not a historical relic here. Its foundational law was encoded into the dimensional fabric. Every circuit board dedicated to independent cognitive processing, the Bat computer, the automated targeting systems, the voice recognition AI in the cowl, was irrevocably fused. He was left with a billion-credit suit of armor that was functionally a lead-lined shell, manually operated. He knelt in the sand, his internal clock registering mere seconds since arrival, yet the world already felt ancient. He removed his gauntlet and pressed his thumb against a now inert control panel. The loss of the AI was a tactical amputation. He was now relying on a human mind trained to supersede machine logic, yet handicapped by the need to manually compute scenarios that the Bat computer could have run in picoseconds. Bruce initiated the deep protocol shutdown for all non-essential systems. He repurposed the auxiliary power cells intended for the Batarang auto-deployment system to run a small localized chemical reaction to boost his stillsuit's filter efficiency. It was a stopgap measure, requiring constant manual adjustment, but it bought him maybe 6 hours. Water conservation had instantly replaced strategic superiority as his core objective. He stood, the cowl's acoustic dampening now manually toggled to maximum sensitivity. The vast, empty horizon was a study in beige and rust red, the air shimmering with heat. The cinnamon spice scent was heavy and cloying, triggering a deep-seated caution in his analytical mind, clearly a localized contaminant with potent biological properties. His suit had a built-in air filter, but he knew that breathing this air meant exposure. He needed immediate external cover, a place where he could strip the suit, perform the necessary field adaptations, and establish an inventory of his now limited utility belt. Bruce's initial survey confirmed the tactical nightmare. The sun was an open incinerator. The sand was not a benign surface, but a living, hostile entity, shifting, swallowing, and radiating heat. His boots, designed for urban environments, immediately registered the intense heat penetrating the soles. He began the slow, measured walk across the dune face, recognizing the paramount importance of water discipline. Every muscle movement was now a calculated cost in moisture. He began to employ the prana bindu nerve control he'd learned from the monks of Nanda Parbat, slowing his heart rate, reducing perspiration, and minimizing oxygen consumption, a survival technique now applied to a degree of necessity he'd never experienced, not even during his first year in the Himalayas. The Fremen, he would later learn, called this water consciousness. His heightened awareness picked up a subtle anomaly in the sand's low-frequency resonance, a pattern too structured to be natural. The vibration was slow, powerful, and approaching rapidly. Bruce had never encountered a seismic signature like it. He calculated size and velocity based on the ground displacement and concluded it could only be an enormous subterranean life form. This was his first lesson in Shai Hulud. He quickly located a cluster of low-lying rock outcroppings, a geographical anomaly in the deep desert. He moved not with the heavy stride of a warrior, but the quick, silent shuffles of a desert creature, utilizing his environment. The shadows were deep, the air slightly cooler. As he squeezed himself into a crevice, he began the work of adapting the cowl. The infrared scanners, already oversaturated by the heat, were repurposed to detect moisture vapor in the sand. The communications system's massive battery was disconnected and replaced by a small field-modified solar charging array peeled from the exterior of a batarang's casing, an almost useless endeavor in the current political climate of forbidden technology, but a desperate act of resourcefulness. It was during this meticulous process of adaptation that the human element intervened. He heard them, the soft, shush-shush sound and movement in sand, yet unnaturally fast, unnaturally quiet. His sensors, now functioning as primitive motion detectors, picked up 3 distinct thermal signatures approaching from the southeast, low to the ground, moving with an impossible economy of motion, their internal temperatures almost perfectly regulated. He had just enough time to replace the cowl and secure the modified utility belt, now containing a half-dozen carefully rationed water tablets and a handful of smoke pellets, when 3 figures emerged from the sand shimmer. They were clad in tightly woven, sand-colored garments that covered them head to toe, their movements fluid and economical. But it was their eyes that dominated the sight, the deep, unsettling blue within blue that spoke of a pervasive chemical exposure. Fremen scouts, their krisk knives, blades of ivory, bone, and steel, already drawn and positioned. The figure in the center, a woman with the weathered look of deep desert survival, spoke a language that Bruce's universal translator, miraculously still functioning, rendered as Outworldler. You waste the water of the tribe with your low feet and your noisy suit. You have seen the Maker's sign. Why are you on the open sand? The master of intimidation, the Dark Knight, was confronted not by a question of authority, but one of water debt and cultural survival. He was already guilty of a cardinal sin, wasting the most precious resource in the universe. The silence in the desert amplified the absurdity of his predicament. He was Batman, but here he was merely a walking, leaking canteen, an offense to the ecological order. He raised his hand slowly, a gesture of non-aggression, his mind racing through the thousands of combat scenarios he had trained for, none of them involving fighting 3 opponents whose entire physiology was geared towards conserving what he wasted with every single breath. The woman pointed her krisk knife at his throat. Speak, water waster. Your Lisan al-Gaib has no place here. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. The spice must flow.